everyone, and welcome at long last to episode 48 of Gamestack Podcast. I am Shalene, and joining me today is Rick. How are you doing, Rick?
Hey, just not at all pulling up the notes in the Twitch channel at all. Not at all. Just doing that.
And Vendor, how are you today?
Welcome, sir or madam.
Indeed.
I'm doing well. Guys. School has started and my life is over. This is my brain on school.
And for the audio folks, Vendor has a background behind his camera that's just like a bunch of math formulas, scientific theorems.
Yeah. Get off your ass.
Like,
Let's do some math.
It looks
Math.
It looks like a beautiful mind.
It does. Yeah.
Well, it's mine. There's nothing beautiful in there, though. Oh, guys, it's Friday the 13th, and that is why the show did not hit the ground running.
Yes.
We landed, and that was the end of it. We skidded a few times.
Left a crater, had to crawl out of the crater.
Yeah, we left
rubble.
skids. We left skids.
See what you're doing.
That is foreshadowing for our listeners of what might come.
Wow, what a disaster already. But it is Friday the 13th. We did have some problems getting the live show started. But for 99% of you who listen to the audio only,
doesn't matter.
It's just normal show for you. So, hey, congratulations.
It's just a normal show, actually.
Yeah, we shouldn't have let on that, anything happened
Indeed.
whatsoever.
Indeed.
And
Well, we need to
probably
acknowledge it for the two people that are in chat. They deserve that.
There's 5.
So did you guys have anything to chat about off the top of the show? I feel like somebody had a story for us.
I have a story for you folks, and it was... All right. So, I'm going to preface this real quick with saying that I never usually work late nights. And so, what happened is, my boss put me on Thursday night, so I work till 9 o'clock at night, and then I drive an hour home.
Right.
So, I know I have... So I leave my work, and I stop at the gas station to get a bottle of iced tea, just to have something to munch on to while I'm driving home, just to help keep me awake a little bit, because I do have an issue. When I drive, I tend to get really tired and just, drowsy. So I always try to have like a water bottle or coffee or something with me just to kind of keep me alert. And so everyone's saying I'm quiet in chat. So see, that's the problem. I'm going to turn up and then it's going to get all nasty. Oh, and I'm really crackly. That's fun.
Yeah, so Rick's audio is a little bit spoopy today, guys, but the recording will be good. We know that. The problem lies with Zoom, I think.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
So the live show and the video show will be a little weird, but the audio is going to be normal.
Yeah.
Does it sound all right to you guys?
Well, it does
It's
now.
still
It didn't for a little while.
A bit, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'll just be careful. I wonder if I'm clipping again. Nope, not. Okay, so there we are. All right, anyway, so I stop at the gas station and I get my tea and I get my munchies and I drive off into the dark. And I'm enjoying myself listening to Dr. Drew After Dark with Chris Hardwick, and it was good. And laughing at other people's sexual misadventures. And I'm near home. I'm about 10 minutes away from home, probably, maybe even less, in this residential area. And I noticed that these lights have been behind me for a while, and and I get that feeling. I'm like, that's a cop. Like, I know it's a cop. I can't tell because it's nighttime, but it's a cop. And I knew I wasn't speeding. I'm driving, and all of a sudden, lights go on.
Oh no.
What did you do?
I know, you run through all the things. It's like, you get called to the principal's office. You're like, I didn't shoot anyone. I didn't snort any drugs in public. So, like anything adult can get you caught. So, I pull over, there's a house on the left, there's a house on the right. Like, it's a residential area. And I put my driver's side window down, and I get my license, and I get my insurance out, and I'm fumbling for the registration. And the cop walks up to the passenger side and tick, tick, tick on the glass. And so I lower the passenger side window, and he goes, hey, I pulled you over because your headlight is out. That's what I first pulled you over for. And I'm like, you first pulled me over for? It's like, or that's what I was going to pull you over for. He's like, but I noticed you were kind of riding the white line a little bit. Which is
great.
Which I'm like, it's the shoulder, dude. I'm not like on the yellow, on the shoulder, on the. I'm on the shoulder, and I cut corners. Like
Like he
when I drive
clearly
and
has
take corners.
nothing better to do with his
Well,
time.
he was a very polite police officer, and he was a state cop, and usually those guys aren't nice. So anyway, he's like, could you step out of the car and just come with me to look at the headlights? So, which I think is the first sobriety test.
Right.
So I get out of the car and I walk over and I'm like, oh man, I didn't even know the headlight was out. I knew. And I was like, I didn't even know.
It must have just
I
happened on the way over.
I was like, I'm sorry, sir. He's like, well, your high beams work fine. It's just your low beams. And I was like, here's my license and insurance. And he goes, okay. I was like, I was looking for the registration. He's like, don't worry, I'll pull it up. So I get back in my car, and he walks back to his SUV, and I look out of the passenger side window to my right, and I see people kind of like in their. I just see people. They're staring, because it's the cop in the middle of the night. And I hear voices from the house on the left across the street because I have very good ears. And I'm like, I guess I'm the spectacle of the neighborhood. And the cop is running my credentials, and I'm sitting there, and it's like 5 minutes in. I'm like, man, what is taking him so long?
Yeah.
And I got my windows down, and I'm on my phone, and I look over, and I see this like weird neon square in this guy's house across the street to my left, because I pulled over to the right, so the street is on my left, and so I look over and I see this weird neon thing. I'm like, that's strange. I'm sitting there and all of a sudden hear this,
Like reggae?
music, and I'm like, yeah, this reggae music, and then all of a sudden I hear, bad boys, what you gonna do? And this guy is blaring the Cops theme song. Like 10 o'clock at night, because I got pulled over and I am dying. I'm like laughing my ass off in the
That
car.
is so funny.
I want to meet him. I want to walk over there and be like, dude.
Yeah, you need to
And,
make
like,
friends with that guy.
That makes it
And-
all worthwhile. You'd be like,
Like-
listen to Gamestack.
but like there's even more to unpack here, because the cop never acknowledges this through the whole interaction. Never acknowledges this at all. And it's like it's off by the time he like comes to my car. So I don't know if he even heard it all, but I know he heard it. He was blaring. And so like but the thing is, this dude had to have been waiting for this moment all of his life. Like, I want somebody to, like, unless he's just that good at spur of the moment, he
Yeah.
was waiting for this his whole life. He's like, I can do it. And his
He's
wife is
got to
probably
be
just-
remarkably quick.
Very
So,
witty.
What a
I
He
really
clever
wanted
seems
to
like
walk
one
over
of
to his
us.
house and knock on his door and be like, thank you so much. The best thing that's happened to me.
Oh man, that definitely makes getting pulled over lots easier to swallow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then the end of this was my registration was actually it was my wife's car, but my registration was out by 10 days. I had no idea.
Oh.
So he's like, look, he goes, is your wife okay? Does she drive? I was like, yeah, why? And he's like, well, her license is expired. And I was like, oh.
Oh,
And he's like, so if she was driving this
no.
car with the expired registration, we would have impounded it.
Oh no.
I was like, well, that's good. I was like, she
Oh,
probably just
man.
didn't realize. So he's like, look, plead not guilty. He just told me, he's like, look, I'll try to take care of you. It's
Yeah.
just because he shook my hand and was on his way. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's just funny. But I was like, I cannot believe someone just played the entirety
Yeah.
of the Cops theme song.
Did I tell you
Oh,
about what
that's so
happened
brilliant.
when Carlo and I went to Palm Springs for tennis in March?
No.
Okay, well, you might as well take the show notes and just throw them out the window. Because here we go. So we get into Palm Springs and we have to take his sister to the airport because she's flying back home. And we thought, well, at the same time, let's get our rental car. So we go up to the kiosk and we're talking about the rental car. And he says, okay, can I have your guys' licenses? And so we give the guy our licenses. And he says to me, so I've got some good news and some bad news. And we were like, okay. I'm like, shit, he's going to give us a Ford Focus. I just know it. And he's like, the good news is I want to wish you a happy belated birthday. He's like, the
Oh,
bad
no.
news is your license is expired. So I can't give you a rental car. So Carlo ended up having to drive the entire time which I was not complaining. I think it worked out actually rather
Yeah.
well.
To your benefit.
Yeah.
Show off,
But I
off.
felt super bad. And it was like probably 2 months after my birthday. So I had been driving around with an expired license for 2 months.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyways, we should probably do a show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, a show?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. It's Gamestack podcast, not Traffic Stop podcast. So let's get right on into it. If you're joining us live, please give us a little host on Twitch. Tell your friends, share the show. It helps us grow. And speaking of growing, our Discord server grew a bit over the past couple of weeks. By the way, apologies for missing that Fallout show last week. It was some bad scheduling. But we're very sorry. We're back now. Vendor, tell us who's new to Discord.
Yeah, this is also new to me because I haven't been really active in the Discord and seeing all the new people. But Jeff Sarge, welcome to the Discord, as well as Mick Homeschooled, Kex Manon, and Trent MK4, Red Bullet, Time Twaveler 81, and Alpha TX. So welcome, guys, to the Discord. If you would like to get access to the Discord, all you got to do is scroll down right below on the stream here. And you can find the link that will bring you right into the Discord. If you're listening after the fact, you can also find our link on social media or just by sending us a personal message. So, but the Discord is our chat after dark, and there's a lot of stuff that went on this week in the chat. We were talking about storming Area 51, and now we have an Outer Worlds channel, and we also have a Borderlands 3 channel now. The stack is growing, and yeah, it's a great place to be. It's actually, in my opinion, the best place to wake up to, you know? I wake up, I go to the common room, and I say good morning.
Coffee and contemplation.
Archin's got his coffee there. He's ready to go. So, yeah.
Indeed. I do enjoy hanging out with everybody in the Discord. And, okay, let's move on along. Today we've got some news, we've got some gameplay shenanigans, we have a special discussion segment, a very special discussion segment. This one has got to be like in our top, it's probably the number 2 discussion segment that we've ever had, I would say. And I also wanted to give away some stuff, so we'll do that later as well. I have a bunch of posters that I would
Did you
like
say
to give
giveaway?
Giveaway, yes.
Oh.
I have a bunch of Borderlands posters, and since it's the Borderlands launch day, I thought, let's give those away. Let's mail those out to somebody.
Okay.
I also have a Gears 5 poster as well.
So what do we got to do to win?
Well, all you have to do is be here in the chat and want some posters, pretty much. Of course, I don't have enough to send some to everybody. I have 3 to give away. 1 Gears of War poster, and then a set of Borderlands posters and a larger Borderlands poster. So because this is a physical item that I have to mail to you, I want to be sure that it's somebody who actually wants it instead of just picking a random person out of Discord. So we'll talk about that later. We'll have people take a number or something, and then you can do a random number generator.
Okay.
But let's start out with the news. I always have to say it in the Rick voice. The news. And gosh, I'm so bad at podcast this week. As always, thanks to Joseph Tao for all of his help compiling the news. He's like the official news director of We Just Love Games.
Yeah.
Our news producer.
Yes, the news producer, the news director. He is the news guy. I'm sorry, I've got nothing. It's the news. Apple Arcade is a thing. You guys heard about this?
No.
No. And I can already tell you, I don't care.
It is. It is a subscription service.
Of course it is.
Boy.
It is, yeah. It is access to over 100 new and exclusive games in 150 countries and regions. This was announced during the Apple press conference that they had a couple of days ago. And I'm reading about this from an IGN article by Matt Kim. So they showed a whole bunch of original games, including a new Frogger game, Sayonara Wild Hearts, which I think looks really cool. That's also coming to, what's it called? The Switch. And Apple
Nice.
Arcade is a subscription service similar to Game Pass. You pay a monthly fee and you have access to the entire library of games. And you can go from your phone to your iPad to a Mac or to Apple TV, and cloud saves will enable you to check out the same game on any platform. Some of the games look okay. There's one that looks a bit like a Souls-like. What was it called? I want to say it was called Pascal's Wager. And it looked pretty interesting. It looked like a legit video game. You know, it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think of this? Is this the future?
What?
Apple Arcade?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I mean,
Why would
this
it be the
are-
future?
Well, I'm just putting a discussion topic out there.
Yeah, this is just one of those things that's gonna be a ladder rung on the way to, streaming across devices, whatever. So it's like there was this. I remember there was this game console. I mean, the Virtual Boy was a headset you would wear, but there was this other. Geez, I can't even remember what it was, but it was this little rubber, like this headband thing you'd stick on, and this is black gaming console that would stick on your forehead, and you would flip down a little clear plastic screen, and it would project a game on it. And I remember playing a Star Wars TIE Fighter game, and it was so bad, and it was dumb, and it was just that next step into eventually headset gaming, like VR and that sort of thing, even though this was, in the very, very early 2000s. And maybe even the 90s. But to me, that's what this is. It's just going to go the way of the Ouya, I mean, I don't know. I don't think this is going to get any traction.
Yeah, I think the real problem will be the content that's available. People are not going to want to play or pay a subscription to play crappy games.
Well, the thing is, the games aren't all crappy.
No.
So are there some good AAAs that we like?
Well, not triple A's,
They're
but
all indies.
they're still mobile games. But just because a game is mobile doesn't mean that it's bad.
No, that's
they're-
true. Yeah,
No, it
that's
does.
true. But I imagine it being like, Pingu and like Angry Birds.
No, it's a little more than that. Definitely more substantial than that. I think it's going to be a great thing for families with children in particular.
I don't know. $5 a month, which is $50 Canadian a month, it won't gain traction here, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if
People
it's good quality,
so here's the thing. Sorry. People are abandoning Netflix because it went up $1 and it's now $9 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And like almost everybody I know at work now has a home-based server with movies, and they just stream through Plex. And like they're just really going away from streaming services. So
yeah, I mean, we're getting a little sub happy.
yeah,
There's so many subscriptions out there now.
like, and which is a good time to remind everyone, always pay attention to your credit card bill, because you may have subscriptions from 3 years ago that you forgot about that you've been paying monthly and never using. So
I just sure, let's just find out. I mean, again, this is just going to be a ladder rung onto the next thing. That's fine.
yeah, I think you're right.
Why is... Oh, that's interesting. IGN is supporting To Write Love on Her Arms. That's awesome.
Pardon?
What?
Sorry, I just saw at the top header on the IGN articles. IGN is partnering with To Write Love on Her Arms, which is a suicide prevention organization I have adored since like 2006.
Well,
Around
good
the
on
years.
ya, IGN.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm surprised, actually. Anyway.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of fantastic mobile games out there. Most of them are also, the ones that are very good, mostly are also playable on PC, the Switch, other platforms. But I think having those games available on mobile and having this relatively inexpensive subscription can remove the barriers to entry for a lot of people. So I think it's a good thing. It's not necessarily for us, but I think it's for someone. And yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Do you think there's a barrier for entry on a $5 subscription fee when it comes to having a almost $1,000+ device that you need to play it on to begin with?
Well, absolutely. And
So, I mean, if you can afford an iPad.
yeah, but like iPads aren't that expensive anymore.
Well, and the problem with Apple is
You can get
that like
an iPad for like $300.
Oh,
That's
really?
yeah.
I didn't know.
the problem with Apple is that proprietary barrier.
Mhm.
Like if Apple built a car, the cup holders in the car would be shaped in such a way that you would have to buy Apple coffee
cups.
mugs.
Mhm.
So I think the concept with the Apple Arcade is going to be the same thing. The applications and the games that are developed are going to have to be made and certified by Apple, blah, 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 blah. And there's going to be, I would imagine it's going to be really difficult for developers to jump through a lot of loopholes to get their games onto Apple Arcade.
It'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we will see how it
Yeah,
goes.
we'll see how that rolls out.
Mm-hmm.
See how that one drops.
Oh, it's really gonna make a splash. Cube World is finally coming out. This game was announced a long time ago and it went radio silent for 6 years. And I'm reading this from a Kotaku article by Jason Schreier. This was a sort of Minecraft meets Zelda type game. You can see it's got this great cube pixely art style. And it was announced a really long time ago. It was forgotten about. It was in development hell. People thought this game was dead, but earlier this week, the developer, and this name, you shouldn't tease people's names, but this is a great name. Wolfram von Funk.
Oh,
Nice.
is that like a pen name?
Wolfram von Funk announced that hopefully this will release on Steam around the end of September or October. So, this is a voxel-based action-adventure game, heavily inspired by Zelda and Minecraft, and it was pretty heavily hyped back in June of 2011. And the alpha came out in 2013. It was very widely popular, very widely played. And yeah, it's not dead. People thought it was dead. It's gonna release. So
You know, the thing that I think I like the most about this game is the map overlay in the gameplay. Have you guys
Mhm.
seen it?
it's beautiful.
So it's essentially a mini 3D render of the entire map, and it shows you where you are on the map. You know how most games you get just a 2D
Mm-hmm.
flat, sort of preview of
If
a
you're
section of the map. That's really cool. I like that. That's ingenious.
It's like a topographic map.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. That's really cool. Well, I hope the game is successful.
I do too. And I really think it's cool that it's actually coming out. He's been working on it all this time. So.
Yeah. Minecraft is super popular, and I really loved Stellar Overload, and this particular game has a lot of that sort of DNA in it.
I'm not trying to draw out of place parallels here, but isn't it kind of a short jump from Minecraft to Mein Kampf?
Sure.
Well, that's not a direction I thought this conversation was going to take.
It's just really close.
Is that flag covering up your board with red strings and thumbtacks?
No, there's actually a window there, and inside is another room, but it's a cell. The Russians are in there.
Oh
Russians.
my goodness.
Yeah.
The
You
Illuminati's real, bro.
guys are such a disaster. Oh man, I
Speak
love
for
you so
yourself.
much.
It's just, I always feel like I'm being followed.
Rick, you are very paranoid.
Well, you do. Have you told that to the people that follow you?
I was trying to set you up for the
Oh,
news thing.
I'm really bad at this.
Mm-mm.
You would think I would get better at this after years of experience.
I don't think that at all about
Thank
you.
goodness. Thank goodness. I mean,
Jeez.
then you won't be disappointed. So
Never.
PT was a thing, and it's this. Are you guys familiar with PT at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
PT stands for.
Playable teaser.
Playtime.
It was a little short game that was made by Hideo Kojima. It was released downloadably on the PlayStation 4. It was supposed to be a playable teaser trailer for a Silent Hills game that Kojima was working on with the assistance of, what's the guy's name? Guillermo del Toro?
Yeah.
And starring Norman Reedus, of course, who's now the main character of Death Stranding. And
Whatever the heck that
PT
game is.
was a horror experience that was completely set in one hallway. And it was really special. I have this on my PS4. We really do need to stream it someday. It's terrifying. It's one of the scariest video game experiences that I've ever had in my life. And to get to the news about it, Lance McDonald, who is a modder, has begun doing some work on PT, and he's discovered some new information. So, let me just find the tweet here. It's not here. It's not in this article. But he states that as you walk through this hallway in PT, you can hear this evil entity, Lisa. You can hear her like she's right behind you. Sometimes you can see shadows, but then you turn around and she's not there. But he's modded the game so that you can control the camera without moving. And if you cut the camera forward without turning around, you'll see that Lisa is like attached to the player's back.
Oh.
Yeah, she's like right there behind you all the time. She attaches to the player's back as soon as you get the flashlight. And
like
look,
the
I'm
squirrel
just
in
going to show this to you
National
guys.
Lampoon's Christmas.
Watch my screen here. So you can see.
Is everyone seeing this?
No, only you're seeing this. Only you guys. It's amazing. I didn't
Losers.
plan ahead. But it's amazing. So you can see he's
How
walking.
long is this video?
I did watch
Not
this.
very. So
it's a
he's
minute.
walking.
It's like an hour in broadcast terms.
Mhm.
Yeah, when people are just
Yeah.
listening to us talk.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's gonna
Wow.
be worth it. It's all. See the shadow, and look, she's attached to his back.
Yeah, that's a hard no.
Yeah,
Hard no.
Yeah.
Hard
She's all
no.
twitchy.
I can't even
it's
watch the
so
video of it.
scary. Oh my gosh, it's so scary. We have to
beautiful.
stream this someday. Like it's utterly terrifying. This game. It's such a special game, and I think it's so amazing that years after this game being taken down off the PlayStation Network, it's still finding new ways to frighten people. I love that. I just love that.
It's cool.
It's wild.
Yeah. Speaking of wild things related to PlayStation, do you know the X button is actually called the cross button?
Really?
Yes, the
Ah.
X button right here, as you can see on this PlayStation DualShock controller. Yeah, everybody's always called it the X button. Do you know anybody who's not called it the X button?
I've always called it the cross button.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
Are you a
Is-
synth?
Cross, square, triangle, circle.
Wow.
It's a Britishism. and we
Why
all
would
know
you call it
vendors
X
secretly
when the other
exist.
three buttons are square, circle, and triangle?
Because it's an X.
But a cross
Mark.
is the shape.
No, it's not.
A cross is a shape.
I went to church all my life. That's not the shape of a cross,
Oh, that's because you're American.
which means perfect.
So that must be the thing for me too, because I also associate the cross with the Christian emblem.
Or even
Okay.
a crosswalk, which is a plus symbol to me. But then I would call it like a stupid symbol if they put it on there. It'd be the triangle, circle, square, plus.
But I feel like this is really controversial. I don't know. It's just crazy.
I love the meme.
Yeah, the meme is great. Describe the meme for the listeners.
I can't. It's just the SpongeBob
Okay.
thing. I don't know.
It's really
Forget
funny.
it.
Look up the meme.
But it's an
Google
X,
the meme.
man.
It's absolutely an X. I don't know. It's so weird.
Somebody gets into the geometry of it all too.
You guys are weird.
And somebody pulled apart the DualShock, and it's labeled as fork.
Oh my gosh. So the square is actually knife.
Square peg,
Square,
round
triangle,
hole.
circle, fork.
Really? Well, I think we should all call it the fork from now on.
That would suggest that it's pronged, but it's actually not.
It really
Like, you
does. I
Like,
wish
you don't
it...
need a fork that has like prongs going out this way and this way, and then one out of the top, like just like.
I wish it wasn't even an X button at all, or cross or anything.
There's nothing on it.
Well, I wish it was something different, like a I don't know, something else. What's another good shape that it could have been? Because I never know where the X button is when it shows the X button, because I play on all consoles. I play on Xbox, I play on PlayStation, I play on Nintendo's, and the X is in a different place. Every console. It's very frustrating.
There's an X button on the Xbox controller, right?
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
As you
so
can
I think
see,
that's maybe
the
where
X is in a
influence comes
different
from.
location on the Xbox controller.
It is. They should have really had a meeting on this.
Yes, they need to get together and standardize this nonsense. Let me see here, and on the Nintendo, you can see the X is in an entirely different location. So
I'm just saying that, like, Nintendo's just sitting over here, like, we've been using like A, B, C, and D forever.
But they
everyone's
don't.
fine
They
with
use A, B, X, Y.
Well, now.
Yeah.
I can't believe
It's
we're still talking
ridiculous.
about this.
Yeah.
Z buttons.
I wish I had some popcorn to just watch this conversation with. And
I know.
like people who enjoy watching things while eating popcorn, Death Stranding is going to include a very easy mode, which is implemented for movie fans. So for people who are not people who necessarily play games, but who would like to experience Death Stranding, there's a very easy mode. So I think that's a cool thing, for sure. It's always great to have some accessibility.
But who's this target audience who owns consoles and buys this game and goes, I'm not really a gamer, but I know Hideo Kojima's stuff, and I'd like to watch it?
Well, no,
Like,
I think
that
they're
seems
thinking
like 5 people.
you're gonna see Mads Mikkelsen and Norman Reedus and Lindsay Wagner, and you're gonna think, I want to check this out. This movie looks amazing, and then you're gonna buy a PlayStation.
Who has a PlayStation and isn't a gamer?
I think you're gonna buy the PlayStation to play Death Stranding.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, the games that I've played that have been episodic recently have been really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like really good. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this.
There is absolutely an audience for this kind of thing, I think.
Oh yeah. For sure.
I think maybe if they said for people who are fans of like episodic games like you, Vendor, and like that sort of thing, sure, that makes sense. But they're like, this is for someone who doesn't play games, and it's like, this is a deep cut kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like, nobody who doesn't play video games, if I walk into a movie buff situation and I say Hideo Kojima, they're all gonna go, who?
But
'Cause they
see,
know movies.
Kojima is not going to draw non-gamers to this game. Norman Reedus is.
No, he's not.
He
No.
absolutely is. You don't understand the
games.
power of Daryl. People love that guy.
Actors have been in games forever, and it's not.
I don't know. I think there's an audience for this also in terms of people who live with gamers.
Sure.
Because I know that as I got consoles that looked a little better, probably starting with the Xbox 360, as the games started to look better, my family got more interested in them. And they wanted to watch as I played, and eventually they would want to play sometimes too. But the controllers, it's a lot. This is intimidating for someone who's never used one. All these buttons. What do all these buttons do? Which one is the triangle? And it's really, I think it's a good thing to have accessibility. That's all.
I'm not disagreeing. I just think the marketing is really strange.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't have an issue with this. I mean, half of this movie or half of this game is going to be a movie anyway.
Yeah.
Has anybody even figured out what it's about at all remotely?
I don't think Kojima even knows. I still don't. I still won't believe it's a real game until it arrives in my home.
Which it will.
Yes, of course I pre-ordered it because of course I did.
mhm.
I'm not optimistic, but that's not to say I'm pessimistic about it. I just don't know what to think about it. I mean, I've loved Metal Gear Solid for the most part, so we'll see.
Mm.
We'll see.
So can I just derail us for a minute?
Please.
Gerfuffle in chat says Sean Bean was in Oblivion, but that didn't drive its sales. Was Sean Bean in
Okay.
Oblivion?
Yes.
Patrick Stewart was in Oblivion.
Yes, Sean Bean was the Patrick Stewart's son.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I love Sean Bean.
But like
for
in
the record.
Oblivion, everybody's face looks like a potato. You know, in
Well.
Death Stranding, Norman Reedus looks like Norman Reedus.
We're talking about 2004 to 2019.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
There's a large gap.
Yes, and that's fine. I'm just saying that there is a bit of a difference. When the actor really looks like the actor, it might drive sales. It really might.
Have you guys watched Frankenstein on Netflix?
Nope.
No.
So considering Halloween is just around the corner, I recommend that you watch
movie.
Frankenstein. It has Sean Bean in it, and it's
Frankenstein?
hmm
Frederick Frankenstein.
But yeah, that's just. I love famous people in video games now. I love it.
It's pretty fabulous.
Mhm.
It is great. Keanu Reeves, Cyberpunk.
Jesse
I wanna see the
Williams, Detroit Become Human.
Yeah. Found out today that you cannot romance Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk. Pre-order
Ooh,
canceled.
that's not going to go down well.
R.I.P. Cyberpunk. Sounding its death knell.
That means he'd have to be in like one of those like golf ball suits and doing lovemaking thrusts. And I
Someone's
don't-
going to make a mod of him for VR. That's
Uh,
all
Oh
I'm gonna say.
gosh. Oh
Let's not
gosh.
That's
start
all
on
I'm
the-
going to say.
So
Deepfake
Nintendo
mod.
wins a court case in the United Kingdom to block piracy websites. This is from a Eurogamer article by Tom Phillips. And UK internet providers must block access to websites which enable Switch game piracy. This injunction requires 5 major UK ISPs, Sky, BT, EE, TalkTalk, and Virgin Media, to block or at least impede access to 4 websites that distribute pirated Switch games, modified hardware, or provide information on how to mod consoles for piracy reasons. And I think this is really interesting that they did pass this. It seems like a good thing for Nintendo for sure. And while I certainly don't endorse piracy, Joseph Tao had some commentary regarding this one that I thought was pretty interesting because he made a good point. A lot of independent, people that do this kind of thing do a better job at archiving games than Nintendo does. And by shutting them down, that could affect, the history of games, basically. So, some of these games could be lost.
I think he's made that argument before, actually.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point.
I mean, that's not to say that you can't archive them locally.
Right.
And then at some point when they're ready, you'll be like, hey, by the way, I have that really obscure game you guys did.
I don't know.
But did you hear what Take-Two did for Borderlands 3?
Tell me about it.
So there's a YouTuber who, from what I know little of, a YouTuber was putting up, a very popular Borderlands YouTuber was putting up some videos of some leaked stuff. And apparently Take-Two sent some two people over to this person's house to ensure that he wasn't leaking any more information.
Like to break his kneecaps?
I don't know, but they just like visit him.
We
and,
just
like,
want to have a little talk.
This
This is a nice home you got here.
Yeah.
Be ashamed of burnt.
Is your wife home?
and
Are you
stuff
here
like
by yourself?
that. And so, the community was like, so in a lot of the videos for the characters for Borderlands, people are like, are you gonna send 2 goons to my house if I don't like this? And I'm kind of thinking like, you know what? If you're gonna like show leaked content to spoil someone's like years in the making creation, you kind of deserve what you get. You know what I mean? Like 2 guys showing up and kind of intimidate you. Sure, like if it takes 2 lawyers showing up at your doorstep saying, "Stop it," like, fine. I don't know. I don't see a problem with it. I just think it's interesting that game companies are really going above and beyond to cut down on piracy and stuff like that.
There's this whole KGB of Bethesda. You know, they just send people out to rip off all the content that we create
The KG Bethesda.
for Bethesda games.
Oh my goodness.
You're gonna hate us.
Yeah. The intern
Guys.
right now just clicked the X button.
The intern is like, abort, abort.
Sorry, the cross button.
Yeah.
Oh,
if everyone's
gosh.
at the X button,
Ouch.
why doesn't this?
Ouch.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just hit my foot.
Oh, ouch.
Still having foot issues, guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
I went running a little over a week ago and I got some sort of tendonitis and it actually got really bad today and my foot swelled up, so then I had to go get x-rays and this big thing. Anyways, on to our next news item.
So, I have no segue for this. Cool. Ubisoft will not return to creating shorter games, according to the CEO. This is from an IGN article by Matt Purslow. Ubisoft is going to continue their focus on these huge open world games with hours and hours of content. And they have the goal to provide some smaller scale adventures within these larger worlds. Speaking to GamesIndustry.biz, Yves Guillemot, who is the CEO of Ubisoft, said no to the question of if the company would ever return to games the scale of Assassin's Creed Unity, in which the main story can be finished in around 15 hours. And of course, the most recent 2 Assassin's Creed games take like so long. This article says Odyssey takes 60 hours of time. I feel like that's a very conservative estimate. I feel like everyone that I've spoken to who's beaten Odyssey spent about 90 hours with the game. So
I mean, it fits the name.
I find that really sad. I think there's a big place in the world for shorter experiences, for medium length and shorter experiences. I love deep open world games that I can just live in. But sometimes I need a little bit of a palate cleanser, and sometimes I don't have all this time to devote, and I need that feeling of having completed something, you know? Mm-hmm. And I feel that it's kind of sad that we're not going to have that again from Ubisoft-style games. So.
Well, I mean, we should also say that they're not going to focus on making shorter games until people stop buying the long ones.
Yeah.
Because if there's a market shift, all of a sudden it's like, no, we've really been wanting to make shorter games all along. You're not buying our games had nothing to do with our decision to make shorter games. We were headed here.
Wouldn't it be easier to make shorter games for them in the long run? They'd still make just as much money.
Well, it depends. I mean, it's quantity versus quality. But with half the game companies these days, I don't think they know what quality is.
True.
You know, Valiant Hearts was one of my favorite game experiences of all time.
Really?
And that was, it was wonderful. Oh. I loved Valiant Hearts.
Interesting.
It was wonderful.
I also enjoyed it, but I wouldn't say that it was like
Well, I mean,
profound.
It's not like the top 10, but it was wonderful. And this means we're never going to get something else like Valiant Hearts, you know, from Ubisoft.
It's not from Ubisoft.
Yeah.
But again, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. They might get a new CEO that's like, we'll do a couple of short spin-offs.
Mm-hmm.
But this just goes along with what I was saying before, that games are now theme parks.
Right.
World.
Right.
Build lights inside of it. It's not so much, it's not so much just like a trip. You're now at the destination.
Right.
And I think we're realizing that there was some value in the trip.
It's not good for my anxiety thinking about all of these 90-hour games.
Well,
we basically need to take a sabbatical to be able to play these games.
I'm for it.
I'm totally for it. I tried to do that between degrees, but it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm super excited for Outer Worlds, October 25th.
Yeah.
That one's good. But see, now that's going to be a short one.
It is.
I'm okay with that.
Purposely making it not ridiculous, and I've been waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting
for a girl like you to come into my life. I've been waiting for a Okay, continue.
You done?
I'm okay now. I'm okay.
You got that out of your system?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Thank
Should have
you.
a karaoke night.
We should do that
Twitch
sometime.
sings.
Twitch sings.
Twitch
We should do a
sings.
WJLG Twitch sings stream. It would be amazing.
Yeah. I
I'm gonna-
tried it once.
I'm
I
gonna do
tried it
tequila.
once just to see what it was like because I had seen people streaming
Mhm.
it, and there's this whole like competitive nature where you have to like get the notes and you get
Ooh.
points if you hit the notes, kind of like Guitar Hero. But
Are you sure? We should do this. I definitely think we should do this. It
yeah,
sounds
sure,
really
rock.
we could plan
Let's
that.
do it. It's gonna
The
be
song
good.
Tequila.
You know what has really great music was Alan Wake. Alan Wake had some fantastic music. And I've talked about Alan Wake before. It's one of my favorite games of the last generation. Really fantastic game, very Stephen King-ish vibe. And recently, Remedy, the creators of Alan Wake, have released Control, which I've heard very good things about. Joseph Tao recommended it very highly in the notes in the news drop email. And I definitely want to check it out. It looks fantastic. But Control, they released a content roadmap for some DLC for Control. They're going to put out a photo mode, and they're going to put out a couple pieces of standalone content. And one of the photos, which I don't think it's visible on this article, on this particular article, but it's called AWE, and it shows the artwork. The artwork for it shows the artwork for Alan Wake in the top half, with Alan Wake shining his flashlight in that artwork. And that is so exciting to me. I want Alan Wake to come back so much. And I wonder if it's going to be a crossover of these game worlds and maybe segue into a new Alan Wake game. That would be brilliant. I would love that. But
I didn't find Alan Wake as compelling as you did.
yeah.
It's just interesting to think about.
Part of the reason that I liked it, though, was because of that Stephen King vibe. I read a ton of Stephen King, and it was very, he's a writer, and it played like a Stephen King novel. It was absolutely like a playable Stephen King novel.
Gotcha.
That's what I loved. That's what I loved. And it was definitely the atmosphere, and it was like a scary game without being scary, which was good for me, because me and the scary games
Don't get along.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a thing. I was excited about it. So hey guys, do you remember that time that we started an episode of this very podcast eating chicken? We were all sitting here eating fried chicken, and Rick was naked.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yep.
Well, there is an even weirder chicken-related video game crossover happening.
What?
I never thought we'd be topped. I mean, frankly, I never thought we'd be topped. But KFC has done it. Did I put the wrong article link? I did put the wrong article link.
I seen you tweet about this earlier this
So I'm
week.
just going to have to go from memory. There is a KFC I Love You, Colonel Sanders visual novel that will be releasing at the end of September. Yes, it has dateable Colonel Sanders. You need to Google this so that you can see. They made Colonel Sanders into a bit of a silver fox. He's much dreamier than he is in his normal representation. And it's a dating sim. I've seen a bit of controversy because people feel that it's sort of poking fun at the Japanese dating sims that are popular, but
People need to get a lot.
it is. I mean, it is in a way, but I don't see that as a problematic thing. I think this is going to be a silly time, and
It's just for fun, people.
I'm absolutely going to stream the chicken game, guys. I'm going to stream the KFC dating sim. I am.
Okay. I mean, I'm not even mad.
Jokes.
I'm not even mad.
I mean, of course I am. I have to.
Uh-huh.
But it's so good. It's going to be great. And I think it's a good thing because something like this could introduce this medium to people who maybe wouldn't have seen it otherwise. This is going to be a popular thing because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think people are going to see this on Twitch and think, I think I'd like to try another game like this. And maybe through that, they would find something like Hatful Boyfriend or, another great dating sim out there. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing.
Neato.
But yeah, I think KFC is actually more popular in Japan than it is in the United States. But
I believe so.
yeah. Anyways, that's some ridiculousness. And I definitely Google this so you can see how Colonel Sanders looks in this in the States. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's quite gallant.
Yeah, he's pretty dreamy. And my final bit of news here is that I guess you can shoot a monkey out of a cannon in Sea of Thieves now.
Really?
Yeah, really. There's no article for me to reference here. I just saw a clip of this on Twitter on the Can You Pet the Dog Twitter account. On Friday, they do some non-dog content. And they showed this video of the guy like petting the monkey and then shooting it out of a cannon in Sea of Thieves.
Okay, when you Google monkey cannon Sea of Thieves, the top story by GameSpot that came out 2 days ago is monkey who barfed and pooped on Sea of Thieves dev during live stream is doing just fine.
I'm glad he's healthy.
Oh man, woo, woo. Yeah. I need to see this in action. Oh, here's the video. Okay, I'm gonna watch this while you talk.
Okay. But it's great. It makes me want to go play Sea of Thieves because what this means is there's a monkey in Sea of Thieves now. Like, can I feed him bananas?
Yeah.
I want to feed him little
Mr.
bananas.
Tumbles.
Oh, can we call ours Jangles?
Oh my, that is glorious. Oh, you can even see him flying through the air.
Yes.
Isn't that great?
And he appears right back on deck, and I feel like it's like that unkillable monkey in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Exactly.
So, I wonder if you have to buy him in the shop or something.
I hope not. That would be
or
sad.
if you just find him and then claim him or something.
Like a quest.
Yeah. Huh, that's cool.
Yeah. Are there other pets? Are there non-monkey pets? Can I have a parrot?
Parrots.
From what I've seen from the video, there's 2 types of monkeys. A brown one and a gray one.
Well, I think this is going to be amazing. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And that's the news. That's the news. It was a journey. We had a journey for the news.
Ups and downs.
It did. Just like the stock market. Vendor, what is going on in the world of GameStock?
I think that's my favorite bumper. Well, as of 11:26 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on September 13th, reported in US dollars, the stock price for Sony rose $3.59, closing at $60.44. Microsoft closing 18 cents higher at $137.40. Nintendo 79 cents higher at $47.98. Take-Two actually dropped $6 in the just today, so they're down 125.74. Activision Activision up $5.30 at 55.77. Ubisoft not really fluctuating all that much, down 2 cents at 16.08, and EA at 98.68, up $4.94. So
nice.
Shalene, did you buy into EA like you No,
I bought Nintendo.
You bought Nintendo. You were
Yeah.
talking about it last time.
Yeah, I bought Nintendo. So
Okay.
I've made about $2 on
Ooh,
Nintendo
look at you
so
go.
far.
Ballin'.
Anyways, that is the stock market. Lots of fluctuation and uncertainty.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing.
Hmm.
You know what else is uncertain to me? Rick's gameplay, because he never fills in the notes. What you been doing, Rick?
It's a surprise. So, what I've been playing most of, I've been putting effort into was Kingdom Come. I don't know if I talked about that or not yet, but it was free on Game Pass, and I started playing it, and I fell in love with it. Yeah, we did talk about this. But it's been a long time since I've played a game that lets you screw up so bad to where you get stuck. And I've done so by engaging in main story missions before I was leveled up enough. So during the story, there's this encampment that you have to attack with other soldiers, and I do that. And it's the combat's not that good. And considering that combat's fairly an option, like getting better at it is fairly an option, and there's no clear direction on where to get armor and things like that. You kind of run into these battles, and they're like, "Go take care of those archers," and like, "Oh, like okay," and like 3 arrows later, I'm like bleeding out on the ground. So I think it took me like 15 tries to even like kill or get the archers to flee. And then by the time I got to fight the last guy, I have basically a hit left. And every sword strike I land on this guy takes his health down by like a smidge. And there's no way I can like back up saves on, except for losing like hours worth of content. So I like worked my way into a corner because this game is like, yeah, we'll just let you do what you want, and then you're stuck now, so have fun with that one. And it reminds me of playing games back in the day.
Right.
You'd spend hours working on something, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can't do that. I'm stuck. I have to reload a save or start over, and I haven't touched it since
Hmm.
because I'm kind of frustrated. So I'm at this crossroads. Do I reload a save and really level my dude and find good armor and good weaponry, or do I put on God mode? But Kingdom Come for me is like Hanua, Hellblade,
Hellblade.
Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice,
Hmm?
where if you cheat, you feel like a bad human being because so much of it relies on who you are as a player. Um, Arch in the chest says, "Did I learn to read yet?" Yes, I have learned to read in the game, and I've been learning. So I'm working on that.
I'm so proud of
Uh,
you. I always knew you could
yeah.
do it.
Tehe, tehe, the Um, so so yeah, that's been the frustration. I've been playing a little bit of Far Cry 5 just because it's fun to just hop in that game and just blow things up. But I got Gears of War 5, or should I say it came with the Xbox Game Pass, and I've been playing Gears of War 5. And it it's Gears. It's exactly what you'd think. There's a couple different things. Um there's uh there's a couple of problems. Like the control scheme for the game is kind of funky. Like the sprint and take cover is the space bar,
Hmm.
which feels weird because sprint so often is shift in PC games. The active reloads are up in the upper corner of the computer screen, but like for computer gamers, a lot of times you're sitting pretty close to the screen, so you physically have to look over at the corner. So you're in cover under fire, and you do an active reload, and you look over and you time it right, and you look down, and the combat arena has changed, and you're like, shoot, where'd the enemies go? And you kind of lose your so like you take your eyes off the screen a lot. And there's some clunky dialogue, but it's Gears of War. It's an action game. It's not known for its um, you know story, and I mean it shouldn't be known for its story at all because you know it's not a good one. I love the voice acting, but the dialogue is just what you'd think of. It's just you know, retreat, and go get them and secure the perimeter, and it's that sort of dialogue, and it is fun and it's good, and like how many close calls can this person have? All of them. Yeah, they can have all of them and not die.
Yeah.
And and it's just a fun game to play. It is Gears of War. I missed Gears of War 4, so I missed a lot of the story arc after the COG wars with the Locust and whatever happened with the Outsiders, introducing the main character of this game. But it is fun to just go through a linear-ish story game and not put a lot of stock into it. The other thing that I've been trying to do with playing games is not watching YouTube or Netflix or something while I'm playing a game, to try to just focus on the game itself and the story and that sort of thing. And that's definitely it's definitely immersed me a bit more in it. But I've just been playing Gears of War 5 and some Far Cry 5 and some Kingdom Come. That's basically it.
Hmm.
I definitely think we need to play some horde mode.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
It's gonna be great.
I am up for it.
Thunder, what about you?
I'm gonna pass on the gameplay. Haven't really played all that much because of class. So, and in the interest of time, take it away, Shalene.
Alrighty. Well, I've been playing through the Halo 4 campaign with my mom, co-op with mom. That's been an adventure. We forgot that Halo 5 didn't have couch co-op, and we tried to set up and play Halo 5. together, and just because she's never finished that story. And we forgot that it didn't have couch co-op, and we got mad all over again. Like years later, we were all outraged again. But Halo 4 is still so good. Gosh, I love that game. So we're having a ton of fun playing Halo 4 together. And I played Blair Witch. I tried that out. I have some thoughts. It's I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I'm really torn because I am compelled by the story. I find it really interesting, but it's very scary, and I'm not sure if I can do it, you guys. There's a very good dog companion in this game. He brings you things. He can lead you around. He's a very good dog. I love him. This is a very solid, like, double A game. You know, it doesn't have the polish of a triple A game, but it's very good. Very, very good.
It's a solid silver medal.
Exactly.
Effort ribbon.
Mm-hmm. It makes me a little bit queasy to play it like Layers of Fear did. The motion, something about the motion, the way the character walks makes me a little queasy. But it's not so bad that I can't play it, which is good. I'm sorry, I'm just going to derail us. In the chat, Elian Key asks, do you guys think Fallout 76 will really come out for Steam? Yeah, they've announced that it will. You know, that's the plan. They're going to bring it to Steam. That's a thing. But
why?
Because people hated the Bethesda launcher.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But Blair Witch, your character has this super old cell phone, which kind of sets a tone. And for quite a while in the beginning of this game, it's very spooky without being scary. But when the scary part kicks in, oh boy, it's very scary. There's binaural audio, much like Hellblade, and it's very good audio. And when this game was revealed at E3, I thought it was some kind of Alan Wake spinoff. The inspiration from Alan Wake is very visible within the game. There are some fun puzzles, and I'm just not sure this needed to necessarily be a Blair Witch branded game. I feel like that was not necessary. I think they could have saved money on the licensing and just made an original game.
Yeah, it does seem weird that that's what they chose to do.
There are some tones of Blair Witch. I watched those movies back in the day, and there are some connections to it, but it's not really. It would be better without it, I think. You know? It would be better without it. Of course, I also tried Catherine Full Body, which released. Yes, and Rick is rolling his eyes. Catherine Full Body is a dating sim meets a sliding box puzzle game. Half the game is sort of a visual novel, and half is puzzles. And this game is still very good. Of course, it's a remake of an older game. But there are new characters, there's new dialogue, new story points, a new gameplay mode. There's enough new to this game that it's not just like buying an old game, it's more like a remix than a remake. So, if you're on the fence about Catherine Full Body and you liked the first one, then I think you should get it. It's pretty good. I played some Super Nintendo games on Switch that released recently. I was pretty excited about it. Played some Super Mario World, realized that I'm bad at games. And then I went back to Super Metroid, which is a classic. You just never can get enough Super Metroid, or I can't anyway. Lots and lots of Fallout 76, but that's a story for another podcast. And I've also been playing through a great puzzle game called The Sojourn, which I can't talk about because it releases on September the 20th. So stay tuned to the next episode of Gamestack for some impressions.
In and
of The
amongst
Sojourn.
all of this gameplay, did you actually go to work?
I did, yeah. Yeah, it was bad.
So you actually found some time to do other things in life.
I did.
Oh. Well, you've certainly been busy in the video game.
You're being judgy.
Yeah.
No, I'm just bugging her.
Uh-huh.
You know how
Indeed.
people... Never mind.
Okay, guys, stop being duty heads. Okay. Can we move on with the podcast?
Yes.
Bendertron, why don't you introduce our next segment?
Right.
This
Before
was
it
your
goes
idea.
before it goes in the crapper, you guys, we want to talk about something very, very important in video games. we want to talk about poop. Poop, yes. That's what we're talking about today. On the show, we're talking about poop in video games and all
Fecal
things
matter.
poop. So, the floor is open to the discussion about poop. I will start off by saying that I think, in my own experience, that the first time I ever experienced in-game video pooping would have to be in The Sims.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, the first, because like Sonic didn't have it.
No.
Maybe Earthworm Jim, that was farting. You could fart in Earthworm Jim, but I don't know if you could poop. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. And I would say in the last decade, pooping in video games is this revolutionary thing. It's everywhere. You can't get away from it. Like Ark, you poop at regular intervals
Yep.
all the time.
Can you control it?
Oh yeah, I can press the plus button on my numpad and out comes some poop.
You mean the cross button?
Yeah, the cross button on my numpad.
Guys.
What?
Stop it.
Oh. Actually, funny story about that. So we have toilets in Ark, and they flush. And when you go to the bathroom in the toilet and you flush, you get a refreshing boost for 300 seconds. And it's supposed to like up your health and stuff like that. Anyways, so Jess and I were playing. This was a while back, and I had went to the toilet and I pooped in the toilet, and then I didn't flush it. I logged off. I went back into the game 2 weeks
Rude.
later. I went back into the game 2 weeks later, and the poop was still in the toilet.
Oh.
It had been sitting in the toilet for 2 weeks.
No.
It was hilarious.
You
It was
animal.
Oh man, I've had so many great poop moments in Ark though. There was this time when I was trying to tweak the server settings, and I had set the poop interval too short, and there was poop everywhere. The whole map was covered in brown poo. It was all over the place. It was terrible. Yeah, and they also have dinos that throw poop at you in Ark as well. So that's my experience from the Ark poop realm. GTA is also really good for poop. There's some scenes where Trevor is like taking a dump behind a dumpster, which is pretty hilarious. But you know what I noticed? There's no poop in Fallout.
You're right.
There's no pooping in Fallout. You can sit on the toilet, but nothing happens. You
can
don't leave
also
any
drink
present
from
behind.
the toilet.
You can drink from the toilet. But yeah, it's not a thing. What do you guys think about in-game video pooping? Do you like it? Do you think it's comical? Are you disgusted by it?
I've never been a fan for potty humor in general. It just isn't my cup of comedy. But there have been a few times that and you're right. I think the first time I'm thinking back on it, the first time I ever remember bathroom stuff, it was in Sims.
Yeah.
Right. And that led to us, preteen, fellas going, "Can you remove the blur?"
Yeah. You move the shower while they're in it.
I want to see the pixelated boobies. And so yeah, I just remember that game being the first time I ever had any sort of like notice of
right
people being people in games. But beyond that, it wasn't very much. I mean, I remember Conker's Bad Fur Day. You would go and fight a poop boss who had corn for teeth. And he would throw fecal matter at you, and the only way to kill him was when he started to sing. You would throw paper into his mouth, and it was you had to actually go into a poop lair, and then at Banjo-Kazooie, it wasn't so much as poo, although I think there was something poo oriented in one of like the fishes you go into. But if you had eggs, you could either shoot eggs out of the bird's mouth, or you could hit Z and down C, and you would go and like poop an egg out. But like, it was very strange to do that. So
I love it. It's great.
And then also, here's the thing. So Kingdom Come, back to this, it's a peasant sim. There's a whole mission where the mission is you have to pick up scoops of dung with your hands and throw them at a person's house you don't like. And but the thing is, if you sit down in an outhouse, you can't poo in the game, which I find, because you have to clean yourself and bathe, but you can't poo. So I guess you just walk around the game constantly constipated. And there's that. If you've ever played Castle Crashers, it's this awesome side scroller game. It's one of the best side scroller action games of beat 'em ups I've ever played, besides Golden Axe. But there's these little animals in the forest, like the deer, and you would walk up past them and you'd swing your sword at them, and their eyes would get huge and get scared, and all of a sudden they'd diarrhea shoot themselves across the screen while leaving like a trail of excrement behind them, and they'd fly off. And like the owls, you would like scare the owls, and they'd poop sitting on the branches of the trees and then just fall off. Yeah, that's the games that I can think of. Oh, Red Dead Redemption has a lot of horse poop in it.
Mm-hmm. Those horses poop ridiculously often. Like, it's unreasonable.
Being in Amish country and seeing alongside of the road, it seems like horses do poop a lot.
Well, they do. You know, they have copious poops. But they're not pooping like every 3 seconds. It's just like when they go, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the one game in which I have found pooping to be essential part of the game is Hunters of the Wild, or whatever it is, Call of the Wild, the hunting game.
I don't know.
You have to look at like tracks and like, you know, droppings and stuff. That's like the only game in which pooping is absolutely necessary as part of the gameplay. But everything else is totally pointless. There's absolutely no purpose for it. Like, developers probably have the most fun making those mechanics. They probably have a great time. Either that or they're totally disgusted by it. I don't know.
Well,
Makeshift Hero in the chat says 7 Days to Die has turds if you search toilets, and I think you can. He says, I think you can throw them at zombies for comedic effect.
that's amazing. When you told me that this was going to be our random discussion topic for the day, I made a list, because that's what I do, of video game related defecation. And first off, we've got West of Loathing, which I recently streamed. I need to get back to that. There are some piles of manure in West of Loathing, which you can step in, and it makes a little blurp noise when you step in them. It's very gross. You can clean them up. You can clean them up later on. Also, No More Heroes, of course, is one of my favorite games for the Wii. One of my favorite games altogether, I think. I really loved No More Heroes. You save that game by sitting on the toilet. So,
really?
Yeah, you go in your apartment, you sit on the toilet, and that's how you save.
That's wild.
Yeah, and you can also save in like porta potties as well that are around town.
Huh.
So yeah, that's a thing. And I wanted to mention Breath of the Wild, which probably is one of the most common, one of the most popular poo-related games. Of course, you collect Korok seeds in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. These little golden seeds, and you can turn them into a character. I've forgotten the character's name. He's like a giant Korok with maracas. He's fabulous. And when you give him these Korok seeds, it states specifically that these Korok seeds have a very, very particular smell to them. They have an odor. They have an odor about them. And this character that you turn in the Korok seeds to, he gives you, when you collect all 900 Korok seeds, he gives you a golden poo. It looks like the poop emoji, only it's made of gold.
That's awesome.
Then we've got, in Majora's Mask, we have another appearance of the Legend of Zelda series. In Majora's Mask, you can find a character who is basically stuck down the toilet hole in a hotel, and all you can see is his hand coming out, and he's like, please give me some toilet paper.
I need some paper.
And you can get him some paper, and he's like, thumbs up.
That's awesome.
And also we've got Tamagotchis, which is really, really important. That's another situation in which it's important to gameplay. You have to clean up after your Tamagotchi poops, or else it's going to get sick. It's going to get depressed.
Yeah.
Just like you would if nobody cleaned up your poop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tamagotchis, it's a very important mechanic there. And of course, in games all around the world, there are gross toilets in every game. Like, it's a thing.
It's a big thing. Like the pooping universe in video games
Remember?
is way bigger than we thought it was.
Remember when we played Resident Evil 7, the Resident Evil 7 demo, and we had to reach in that horrifying toilet? That was one of my worst video game memories of all time, Fender. Like, it was the worst. But yeah, that's my my list of video game related defecation.
I have to say though, in all of
Nice.
my experiences with the defecation in video games, Ark has always taken the cake. It's just it's so good. It's so good.
Or the
Actually,
pie. The,
that also makes me think they have dung beetles as well
Aw,
in
Yeah.
Ark, and you have to feed them poop.
Yep.
So,
nice.
Yep. but yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, I think that's a show. Did anybody have anything else?
Nope, time to
Got
flush
nothing.
this one.
Okay, let's give away these posters, huh?
Mm.
So if you're audio folks, this part of the podcast may be a little boring, but we're past the main thing. So I have this Borderlands poster here. Does anybody in chat want this Borderlands poster? Okay, we've got this one, so
We'll set that one aside.
we'll set that one aside.
There's a
Wow, it
delay.
looks like very like Greek gods kind of.
And then I have this Gears 5 poster as well.
Ooh, that's fancy.
Yes. That's very
Rick-
shiny. It's very hard to see.
Yeah, it's just
That
in
is
like
pretty.
a protective
Yeah,
plastic, I
it's-
assume.
It is. It's in a protective plastic. It says destroy from within. Has the cog symbol with like a some kind of monster. It's very gross.
Cool.
And then we've got this set of Borderlands posters, which are going to go as a set if anyone wants these. We've got this one that's like Warhol inspired. Really like that. Just going to scroll through these. so
Oh
you
yeah,
can
I
see
like
them.
that. That's cool. Oh, I like that.
This one's like the Scream. I love that. It's really
Yeah.
funny. So there's that set of Borderlands posters, and I would like to give these away. I would prefer to give them away to somebody in the chat if you want them. If nobody speaks up, I'll give them away on Twitter later. But yeah, just let me know if you want them, and we'll give those away.
Awesome.
Anything else, guys?
I think
got
that's
nothing.
pretty much it.
All right. Thank you for listening. And of course, join us next week for that Fallout show, our Fallout centered podcast. We're gonna talk about some Fallout related things, probably refrigerators. Is your refrigerator running? Are we doing any streams this weekend, guys? We should have talked about that before the show.
I don't think I'll be able to.
Yeah, I'm busy all weekend.
Okay, so no streams this weekend.
I mean, knock yourself out
It's
if you want to
fine.
play
It's
West of
fine.
Loathing or
It's
something.
fine. It's fine.
Did you finish West of
Oh
Loathing?
no, I only played one stream. Yeah.
Oh,
I
you
need
should
to do
stream
some
it.
more. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can email us at info@wejustlovegames.com. info@wejustlovegames.com. I really enjoy reading listener emails, so definitely do that. Find us on Twitter at wejustlovegames. I'm Shalene L, SHALINEL. Rick is Rick McVick, and Vendertron is Vendertron N, and that's VENDORTRONN. I see a lot of people spelling that with an E sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Facebook.com/WeJustLoveGames, Facebook.com/groups/WeJustLoveGames. We've also got this fabulous Discord server, which you should definitely join. And you can join in the live recording time at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. We are on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all those newfangled places where you can listen to podcasts. Like, subscribe, review. It's going to be fabulous. And thank you for listening. Rick, do you have a last word?
We must remember that art is art. Well, on the other hand, water is water, isn't it? And east is east, and west is west. And if you take cranberries and stew them like applesauce, they taste much more like prunes than rhubarb does. Now, you tell me what you know.